All right, guys, we're moving on. So this is an article from Variety. It's good news in the realm of DC because it proves that we are what it's called being pivot to fandom, pivot to not just telling the fans they're awful.
Or being pandered to?
Yes, pivot to pandering. So it says, James Gunn acknowledges fan movements in statement promising DC's biggest story ever told across film and television. I've heard people say that they want to do Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is a very famous crossover event from DC with Flash and all these characters. So it says, James Gunn has shared some thoughts on the directions of DC Studios less than 2 weeks after being selected alongside Peter Safran as the banner's first ever co-chairman and chief executive officers, taking to Twitter. He says, opening up Twitter at the end of a long creative weekend to see this many tweets to hashtag save Legends of Tomorrow and hashtag release the Ayer cut and fan support for other DC projects over the years. The majority of these requests were enthusiastic and respectful. Gunn wrote, it's important we acknowledge you, the fans, and let you know we hear you from different desires. We hear your different desires for the pathways forward to DC. The question here is, will they still have the same attitude when people aren't respectful? Because that will eventually come. What I caution here is that, yes, everyone's kind of excited right now about what's going on, but what happens when they make a release and it doesn't hit the way people want it to, or it doesn't do it? Are they going to revert back to their natural state, which is blaming fans for not showing up and yelling at fans for not liking the direction they take? It's very difficult to be a creative.
I think that they were given a free pass by the fans for Black Adam, and it was like, here's a gold star because you tried, and that's why it had such high audience scores. However, just ratings and just, getting a good audience score on Rotten Tomatoes does not equal profit. And Black Adam has not
reached profitability yet. No,
reached profitability yet. And
they say
they're
bombed.
Maybe not going to get a release in China, so that's also going to be an issue for profitability.
Yep.
And there's a lot of talk about hearing the fans, and it feels like pandering when it comes from The Rock. Maybe when it comes from Henry Cavill, there is more of an energy that it's genuine.
I take the completely illogical road that I believe it when it's Henry Cavill. I don't believe it when it's The Rock. I don't care if that makes sense.
Yeah, when it's The Rock, it's not that he's excited about playing Black Adam. It's that he's excited about being important to DC fans.
Yeah.
And when it comes from Henry Cavill, I genuinely believe, I don't know why, it's just a vibe.
It's like Keanu Reeves. I know that most of the celebrity fluff around celebrities being good people is BS, but when it's Keanu Reeves, I just believe it. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. I just do. That's
but when
instinct.
We were arguing about the likability of Bill Murray, and you think that he plays too far into the quirky image.
It's manufactured. I don't feel that the Keanu stuff.
But you buy Keanu Reeves when he, like, his wholesome 100ness has been memed into oblivion, and I find that, like, maybe I'm just a cynic, but I find that tiresome. So I don't believe any of it. But all I'm saying is I believe Henry Cavill is enthusiastic about playing Superman and is happy to have the chance to do that again. But also, I'm worried DC blew their chance at profiting off of that because they wasted an entire decade.
The idea here is that with new leadership, the problem here is with new leadership, normally you would expect new characters, new renditions, but they keep pivoting back to old characters and old renditions, which will make people feel like they're leftovers of the previous regime, even if the new regime wants to take a separate approach. One thing that speaks to the change is this thing from Henry Cavill where he says, and this is what I think is very important. He says, if that's the case, it's my honor to be the custodian of the character. And it says Henry Cavill wants to sign an exclusive contract to make him the only actor who can play Superman. Cynically,
for the rest of his life?
No. Cynically, you would think like, well, yeah, because he wants to be the one who gets all the...
I mean, I'm sure that there's an aspect of personal, like, self-interest and profit-driven interest in him saying that. But I buy totally that he's happy to be welcomed back into this role again.
Yes.
And I think he was kind of unfairly shut out of conversations.
Made no sense. They had a big name actor with arguably the biggest superhero of all time, next to maybe Batman.
And everyone knows that Instagram post where he tagged nearly every name in existence who has played a significant role in DC.
And nobody responded.
No one responded except Jason Momoa with like an emoji or something. It was basically like responding K to a wall of text.
There was the article that said that Henry Cavill basically said that they're going to give the fans everything that they've wanted from the Superman character. It feels like they've kind of reached this point now where they realize that at the very least there's good publicity in pretending like you're listening to the fans. That's the cynical side of it for me, saying so. Yeah. And I would like to see them do that. I think bringing back a lot of these other characters is good and proves that they want to move in that direction. But I also, look, James Gunn, as much as I loved... okay, I didn't love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They were fine.
Who loved the Guardians of the Galaxy
But
movies?
I loved his Suicide Squad movie, and I thought Peacemaker was fine except for the weird environmentalist propaganda crap at the end that didn't really fit when they started using the buzzwords and I can't stand it. Well, I realize that, by the way, this is a bit of an aside, that it's not even so much that the writing is different now as far as characters. It's that before 10 or 15 years ago, there weren't as many like universally known buzzwords. So I was watching this episode of Lethal Weapon the other night, and basically the mom is lecturing a daughter for like putting up pictures online where she's not wearing like enough clothes. And the mom's basically making the argument that like, look, if you don't respect your body, you can't expect a boy to respect your body either. And her brother comes in during the lecture and makes a reference to like the male gaze. And 20 years ago, that just wouldn't have existed in that world, right?
I wonder how content that includes stuff like that will age.
I mean, it'll age out because those terms will, like 20 years from now, people will be like, what the hell does that? If anything, it dates it in a way that fashion dates a lot of TV shows, right? So it's like, it's like hearing mansplaining in a television show. Like I heard that on an episode of an NCIS episode. I'm like, this automatically makes this between this year and this year now. And when you hear that stuff, you're just like, that writer
drawing a line in the sand between the viewers and the writers by doing that.
You should be seeking to make your content timeless. It's why that scene in the Batman was so jarring when Catwoman references white privilege, because there's no other dialogue in all of the movie that is like forcefully modern. Right? Mm-hmm. The rest of the dialogue is fairly evergreen in its content, but that language is so of current year and of certain ideology that it takes you out of the story that's being told. And that's what it did that in the show I was watching the other day. So
what made you drop off of watching Legends of Tomorrow after like 2 seasons? Because it went for 8.
7 or 8. I enjoyed. I thought they kind of bungled the Vandal Savage storyline, which was who the big bad was in season 1, and it got eventually got watered down with the typical CW stuff, which is like all of a sudden everything's gay, literally, like outside of the realm of like weirdly so. Right, where it doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Like it felt like the writing changed. It's not a knock to that. I'm just saying the writing is bad.
But I get what you're saying.
That it felt clunky, and they did the same thing with most of those shows. Or like the Flash, when the Flash became all about Iris West and every character but the Flash. Arrow became about every character but Oliver Queen. The writing just took a huge dive in those later seasons, and they make up for that by making it all about ideology. And that was a hallmark of the CW network, especially in those later seasons. And I don't mean any of that to sound disrespectful to any particular group. I'm just saying that it made their writing clunky and very, very predictable most of the time. I've heard that that most of Legends of Tomorrow is good. I just had no interest in it. There was better stuff to be watched at that time.
Well, that's why I just got the sense that there would be more demand for a director's cut of Suicide Squad than for reboot of Legends of Tomorrow.
That one surprised me too, because the release, the air cut stuff felt very astroturfed to me, because
is he name dropping it just because they're planning on it?
I don't think look, there was a big market for the Justice League stuff because of the tragedy surrounding Zack Snyder, what happened to his daughter, the fact that the Justice League movie was as bad as it was is actually parallels the fact that the original Suicide Squad movie was as bad as that movie was. And like I said, if you watch that original trailer, the Comic-Con 2014 or 2016 trailer for Suicide Squad, you can tell that the movie that David Ayer originally produced had a very, very dark and different tone from the slapstick garbage that ended up coming out in that movie. Hey, I love it. I love slapstick garbage. That makes no sense. But you lose out on something when you take a director's vision and you handicap it like that, which likely means that there was a lot of Leto and Harley Quinn Joker and Harley Quinn stuff that got cut out.
Well, they had the like dark abusive relationship subplot heavily included and the slapstick humor. They probably thought these two themes seem contradictory and we need to just commit to one.
Yeah, they axed it, which is why there was almost none of Leto's character in there. And to be fair, it wasn't a good portrayal really anyways. So
I thought it was at least like funny. It was funny to watch.
When he said hunka hunka, I literally I turned it off the first time. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this right now.
Is it because you're allergic to cringe?
I kind of am.
Because I love cringe, and that's why I liked Jared Leto's Joker.
I can't do it. I liked Will Smith too as Deadshot, which is there's another example of there was a story the other day when we were covering the stuff that they were doing for the swaps that they're doing on X-Men, how they're saying basically if we bring in bigger name actors, people can't complain as much if we race swap or gender swap characters. Nobody gave a crap when they race swapped Deadshot for Will Smith because Will Smith's such a big name that he's able to, his marquee value overrides that for a lot of people. And I thought that portrayal was fine. I thought Amanda Waller in that movie was fine. I thought that it was a criminal misuse of Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag because Joel Kinnaman's an underrated actor. But it would be interesting to see how those characters, because they got a lot of really, like when I think about that, Joel Kinnaman, Margot Robbie, Will Smith, it was like the one time people liked Jai Courtney. Like that, like it's the only thing people like him in. Everything else he's in, everybody hates. There was a lot of potential there that might have been salvageable in the Ayer cut, but I don't know if that would be something I would care enough to like sign up for HBO Max specifically to see. Like, I already have it, but like, if I'm a new person, like, is there anybody who's like hashtag releasing the Ayer cut on Twitter that isn't already subscribed?
Yeah, it seems like a bit of an AstroTurfed fan campaign at this point, but maybe because they're planning on actually releasing it, he's name dropping it so that they seem like they're good at following through on their promises.
And when they did it for the Justice League cut, they gave him an additional $20 million to finish the special effects. So it's not like it was just like he re-edited it and then released it. They had to finish the movie completely. So
I'm disengaged from caring about the climate of chaos around the future of DC. I'm just thinking release good movies.
I love the chaos. I love it because this is what DC is great at. Announce a bunch of projects and then F them all up. And then somehow the little ones end up working out. Joker works out because they gave him $55 million. He made his movie and they left him alone. They don't know how to leave people alone and just make their stuff. Right? All the problems that we hear about come from studio interference. Mm-hmm. If James Gunn does his job right, he's not going to be interfering in these directors making these projects. So hire good directors, hire good actors, give them medium-sized budgets. None of this $200 to $250 million stuff anymore. You can't afford to. You just can't. So
because somebody is going to have a weird personal relationship with the Dalai Lama
in another country.
And F it all up for you. So just stop planning for a China release.
Yes, exactly. So we'll see. Like it's interesting. I enjoy the DC gossip and stuff way more than the Marvel stuff because Marvel is just draining and stupid, and the fans are arguably way worse. Like
because Marvel is a machine that is like well-oiled and efficient. Yeah. And you know what's coming next for the next like 5 years.
When they make an announcement, that project will come out. With DC, you're like, will it come out? Will it not? We have no idea. It's interesting to see. So we'll see. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.